Once upon a time, there lived a powerful baron in the northern country. Once he heard his servants talking about a great magician, who could tell what would happen in someone's future, by looking at a book of fortune. One day, when Baron's little boy was 4 years old, he called the magician to his residence, to know the fate of his little boy, and asked the magician to tell him about his son's future. The magician saw in the book of fate, what would happen to his son in the future. The magician saw that his son would marry a lowly maid, recently been born in the servant's house at York Minster. And the baron became very disappointed, after knowing such a future of his son. The magician tells the baron that the little girl's father is very poor, and already has 5 children. When the baron learns of his son's fate, he calls to his horse, and rides towards the house of York Minster. And he passed by the little girl's house, and saw the girl's father sitting sadly at the door of his house. So he got down from the horse, and went to the girl's father and said, "What's the matter, good man, why are you so sad?" And the man said, "Your honor, the truth is that I already have 5 children, and now the 6th child has arrived, a little girl. I am very poor, and it is already difficult for me to feed those 5 children. And now where should I get bread to feed this little girl? It is more than I can do." "Don't despair, good man," said the baron. "If this is your problem, I can help you solve your problem. I'll take the last little girl with me, and you won't have to worry about her." "Thank you very much, sir," said the man, and he went in, brought out his little girl and handed her to the baron, and the baron immediately mounted his horse and took his little girl with him. And when the baron reached a river bank, he threw the little girl into the river and went towards his palace. But fate has decided something else for that little girl. The little girl did not drown in the river. She landed on a wooden plank and continued swimming until she stopped on the shore, just in front of a fisherman's hut. When the fisherman saw her, he took pity on the poor little girl, and took her into his house, and she lived there until she was 15 years old, and grew up to be a nice beautiful girl. One day, it happened that the baron went hunting, with some of his companions, on the banks of the river Ouse, and stopped to drink water at the same fisherman's hut, and the girl came out to give them water. They all noticed her beauty, and one of the companions said to the baron, "Baron, you have a magician who can accurately read the fate of any person, can he tell whom this girl will marry?" "Oh, that's easy to find out," said the baron. "Its fate can be told by looking in the book of fate. For this I need to know on which day the girl was born." "Girl, come here," said the baron, "and tell me what day you were born." "I don't know, sir," said the girl, "I was taken out of the river about 15 years ago, and brought up here." Then the baron realized that she was the same girl whom he had thrown into the river 15 years ago. And just when he and his companions were leaving, he went back to the girl, and said to her, "Listen girl, I can change your fate. Take this letter to my brother in Scarborough, and he will give you a huge reward, and that reward will satisfy you for the rest of your life." The girl took the letter from the baron, and said that she would go. Now this is what Baron wrote in the letter. "Dear brother, kill the girl who has brought this message immediately. Yours affectionately, Albert." Soon after this the girl left for Scarborough, and spent the night sleeping in a small inn. Now that very night a group of robbers entered the inn, and searched the girl. She had no money with her, only a letter. So he opened the letter and read it, and after reading the letter, the captain was very surprised to see that the murder of the girl was mentioned in the letter. And he wondered what enmity that innocent girl would have against someone, that they wanted to kill her. He could not understand what game fate was playing with that innocent girl. He took pity on the innocent girl, and decided to change her fate. Then the leader of the robbers took a pen and paper and wrote a letter. "Dear brother, take the bearer, and marry this girl to my son immediately. Yours affectionately, Albert." And then he gave that letter to the girl, and requested her not to tell anyone about the changes in this letter. And so the girl went to Scarborough, to the baron's brother, who was a great knight, and at the same time the baron's son was living with him. When she gave that letter to baron's brother, he read the letter and ordered to immediately prepare for their marriage, and got them married on the same day. Soon after, the baron himself came to his brother's castle, and was astonished to find that all the plots he had hatched to change his son's fate had gone to waste. But he could not accept it like this, and he was determined to throw this girl out of his son's life, and one day he took the girl for a walk to the edge of the rocks. And when he found her alone, he caught hold of her arms, and was about to throw her over the slope of rocks, when the girl begged for her life, and told him all about that night and the thieves. "I didn't do anything," she said. "I'll do whatever you want if you leave me. And unless you wish, I will never see you, or your son again," said the girl. Then the baron took off his gold ring, and threw it into the sea and said, "You will not show me your face, until you find this ring." And saying this he let the girl go. The poor girl kept wandering. At last she reached the palace of a great nobleman, and she asked him to give her some work. And they hired her as a maid to do small jobs in the palace kitchen, as she did similar jobs in the fisherman's hut. Now one day, the baron and his brother and his son, that is, her husband, and many other men or women, came to the nobleman's palace to celebrate a party. Seeing them there, she became very nervous, and did not understand what she should do. But she thought that they would not be able to see her in the kitchen of the palace. So she sighed, and went back to her work, cleaning a large fish that was to be boiled for them to eat. And, while she was cleaning it, she saw something shining inside it, and what do you think she found? The baron's ring, the same one he threw on Scarborough Rock. Seeing this she was very happy, and felt relieved. Then she cooked the fish, as best she could, and served it. Well, when the fish arrived on the table, the guests liked it so much that they asked the nobleman who had cooked it. He said he did not know, but he called his servants and asked them to send the cook who had cooked that wonderful fish. So the servant went to the kitchen and told the girl that she was wanted in the hall. Then she washed and cleaned herself, and put the baron's gold ring on her thumb, and went into the hall. When the diners saw such a young and beautiful chef, they were amazed. But the baron was angry, and began to rage at her, as if he was going to do some violence to her. Then the girl came to him with her hand extended and holding the ring. And she placed the ring on the table, in front of him. Then at last the baron understood that one could not fight against fate, and he gave her a seat, and announced to the whole party that she was his son's true wife. And he took her and his son to his palace. And they all lived as happy as they had never been before.